A crook who was the fall guy for his multi-million-pound COVID fraud gang was once sentenced to the death penalty in Pakistan, it has been revealed. Sajid Hussain was a very active member of the Birmingham group, who swindled small business grants, bounce-back loans, eat-out to help out and self-assessment payments. He was one of 9 men jailed for nearly 50 years in total for his involvement on Friday, December 6th. Birmingham Crown Court was told that Hussain, 36, had once been embroiled in a dispute over land in Pakistan, which ultimately led him to falsely confessing to murder and being sentenced to death. The conviction was eventually overturned, and he was released after 10 years. But while in custody, he met an inmate who introduced him to Chirat Dias, the would-be mastermind of the COVID-19 fraud, who offered to help him with his appeal. Upon eventually meeting him in person after travelling to the UK, Hussain felt he owed his life to Dias and embroiled himself in his fraud scheme. Hussain's barrister Mohammed Riaz provided the extraordinary backstory as part of his mitigation earlier this week. He told the court Hussain, his mother and father, were accused of murder, which involved a dispute over land. But while his parents were acquitted, Hussain was tortured until such time when he had no alternative but to confess. He was convicted and sentenced to the death penalty. There was a long legal challenge, which lasted for a decade to clear his name. There was a successful appeal to the High Court, where the sentence was reduced from the death penalty to a life sentence with a minimum of 25 years. He stated deficiencies in the evidence, when Hussain was convicted, led to the Supreme Court clearing him altogether. Mr. Riaz stated Hussain lost touch with the outside world for 10 years, including missing the funeral of his parents who passed away while he was in a Pakistan jail. The barrister confirmed Dias had offered to help him mount his legal challenge, adding that Hussain is extremely grateful for their support. Mr. Riaz told the court that Hussain travelled to the UK after his release. He said he would be there if called upon for Chirat Dias. He felt he owed his whole life to Chirat Dias and wanted to show gratitude. When he was recruited by Chirat Dias, he embarked on the fraud. He did not fully appreciate the nature, the scale, or the sophistication of it. He is an example of someone who has been manipulated or used as a scapegoat, even exploited. Stating that Hussain had special needs, the barrister added, he was taken advantage of. If there was going to be a fall guy, it was this defendant. He has been duped by others. Hussain, who is divorced, lives in a house of multiple occupancy in Flackwell Road, Erdington, and has a number of health issues which he has had since he was a boy. The court has previously heard that at one stage during the fraud, he complained everyone else involved had made enough to live in Dubai, except himself. Hussain was sentenced to 5 years after admitting 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. Dias, age 51, of the Hurst, in Moseley, Birmingham, was jailed for 7 years and 7 months after pleading guilty